Rico, you're throwing me off because you look bored and like I'm doing it. Hey guys, Diane here, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on Gone to See the Riverman by Kristopher, Triana, and I'll let you know how I felt about it. Okay, so a quick synopsis of Gone to See the Riverman is so we have our protagonist Lori. She is obsessed in love. She doesn't like to say she's in love, but she's in love with a convicted man who's in like he's in for life. He butchered like 20 women, and they're writing back and forth, so they're forming this bond. And she doesn't really have a whole lot of bonds with anybody. She takes care of her special needs sister who's like 24, so it's really just them two. And she goes to work, she comes home, she doesn't really have a life really that she feels like is her own, because she's really involved with her sister, and that takes up most of her time. And so she feels like this is like the only thing that she has that is her own. So they are riding back and forth, and he ends up sending her on a mission to go see the Riverman. And for some odd, crazy reason, she does it. She takes her special needs sister, who's just like the sweetest character. She takes her, and they go out into the backwoods, a very secluded area, and they try to find the Riverman. And from there, it just turns really weird really fast. This is almost like a folk horror, a cosmic horror, a little bit of both, and it's perfect. It's such a good book. It does have a lot of trigger warnings. I don't want to necessarily say what they are because I don't want to give any spoilers away in the book. But just think of anything. Think along the lines of like Keelan Patrick Burke, which I did review on his book Kin, which is not similar, but the trigger warnings are very similar. If you read, let's see, if you've read anything along those lines where it's just think of anything bad, anything trigger warning worthy, it's going to be in this book. So it's not for someone who's looking for like a light, spooky story. It's not light. It is spooky, it's creepy, it's scary, but it's not going to be something that you're going to just, casually read and forget about, because you're probably going to remember this book for a very long time. Okay, so the length of this book is 165 pages. It's not even 200 pages long, which is crazy to me because there's so much that happens within those 165 pages that you would think it would be like a novel size, like, 800 pages. I don't know. That's how it felt. It felt like a very long journey, but I mean, it's pretty short. Like I said, it's 165 pages. The pacing is on point. You feel like you're you're on this journey, but so much it's just so much happening that it's a journey, but you're not really going that far. And the writer is just, it's so well written, it's easy to read, and you have this sense of dread because there was a few parts where I was kind of like reading through my fingers because it was so, I didn't want to go there. I didn't really want to read it, but you have to read it. You have to get through it. But so there were, but it was just so well written, and so I don't even know how you would kind of, like sometimes you feel like, oh, I wonder like how this would be in a movie. I don't really know how you would even tackle this in movie form because the book is so expansive. Like you wouldn't think that you would really be able to put those kind of images in, like explore those images just through reading it, but you really can through this author and the way he writes. Okay, so this book had so many standout moments. Like I said earlier, it's pretty short. So I felt like there was like standout moment after standout moment after standout moment. There was just so many of them. there was a twist at the end where I was like, what? But it was like believable. It went along with the story. It wasn't, you believe it. Like, you really believe that this person that you just went on this journey with, that just did all these things, would do this because you feel like you know them, you feel like you know their character, you feel like you know their thought process, and how they got to that point in their life, whether they be right or wrong. It's totally believable that, yeah, that's just that's something she would do. It's just crazy. I just loved this book. It's so demented and twisted, but you can't look away. You can't stop reading. It's gonna stick with you, that's for sure. If you don't like books that are gonna like keep you up at night, this definitely kept me up at night for more than one reason. And I think about it sometimes, like when I'm driving or when I'm like, with my kids or something, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't read that. Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should be like, reading like, fairy tales or something. I don't know. But this book was just so good. And if, you're into, a character based folk horror, cosmic horror book, this is definitely where it's at. Okay, so like I've said before, I enjoyed this book so much. I mean, as you can see from the cover, it's like just so fall, so October, so it's just like the perfect read for fall. I didn't read it in fall. I kind of wish I would have, but I was feeling fall that day, so that's when I read it. But I really enjoyed this book so much. It was so good. And I don't even know if I want to say I like enjoyed it. Like it didn't make me happy, but it intrigued me, and to where you're just like, oh man, this is so crazy. You have to see what happens next. You want to almost stay in some of the spots in the book because you want to like look around. You want to see like everything. You want to be able to absorb like the whole atmosphere. And this book is definitely like one of those books where you feel small. You feel like there's just this whole expansive, crazy world that you have no idea about. And I think that was my favorite part of this book, because it did feel like just so out of my control, and that everything is just happening to you. So that's what I really loved about this book. As far as who I would recommend this to, I don't know anyone in my personal life that I would recommend this to, because I don't really have like many people that I know like in real life that I have a whole lot of reading reading in common with. Like I can't call my sister and be like, hey, you should read this. She'd be like, I'm not ever going to read anything you read because I know you and I don't like it. No, I'm just kidding. But I have a book club online that, will send recommendations back and forth. So this is definitely something I would recommend to someone who's already into the genre, who already knows, like, and enjoys, like, messed up, disturbing, I reiterate, disturbing stuff that that you enjoy, but you don't really know why you enjoy. Like, why do you like watching, people get killed in movies? I don't know. Why do I like reading about it? I don't know. I just like it. So if feel comfortable enough, if you feel comfortable enough recommending this, and knowing that it's going to disturb that person and they'll enjoy it, then yeah, go ahead. So I would give this book a 10 out of 10. That's how much I love this book. That it was completely flawless. There was no part of this book I didn't like. There was no part of this book that I was that was like wanting. It was just so freaking good. I just loved it so much, and I might read it again next year, or like this fall. I might read it again, just depending on, whatever else I have planned on reading. So we'll see. But it is really short, so I could read it in one day if if I feel so inclined to. But so yeah, I would definitely give this a 10 out of 10. And if you like, disturbing books that are expansive and just take you to another world, this is definitely where it's at. But yeah, so if you like this video, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. If you have more books more cosmic, folklore. You can, give your recommendations in the comments, and please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.